Hello, awesome fourth graders. Mrs. Hall here from Donahoe Elementary School. I'm the Title I math coach, and I am so excited that you've joined me today. Today, I would like to teach you a little bit about fractions, in particular, how to order fractions, putting them in order from least to greatest. My favorite way is to use the number line. The number line can be very helpful because we can use important benchmark fractions like 1/2. I bet you recall using 1/2 as an important benchmark fraction in third grade. We'll be doing that today. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. And we're going to be using this wonderful number line for ordering fractions. We're focusing on SOL 4.2a. So we're going to start with this problem right here. We have four fractions that all have the same denominator. Notice they all have eighths, 5/8, 7/8, 2/8, and 6/8. Well, knowing what I do about eighths, I know that 4/8 equal 1/2. I'm going to put 4/8 right under my 1/2 because I know 4/8 are 1/2. So I can look here and I can decide where I can put 5/8. Well, 5/8 I know is more than 4/8. It's 1/8 more. I know it's going to be over here somewhere. 7/8 is also more than 5/8. 6/8 would be right in between. And 2/8, we go right here, somewhere in between 0 and 1/2. Now I know these are in order because I have all eighths, and if I want to prove it, I can take my circle that I have here and start drawing my fractions. So here I've got 2 pieces or 1/2. Now I have 4 pieces or fourths. Then I can use my diagonal and as carefully as I can. They're as even as I can get them. We now have eighths, so if I have 2/8, I only need 2 pieces. For 4/8 would be 1/2, as we see here. 5/8 would be 5 pieces. 6/8 would be 6 pieces, and 7/8 would be 7 pieces. So I'm fairly confident that these are in order from greatest to least, from least to greatest, because the denominators, the size piece, is all the same. My next problem is a little bit different. Now we have all the same numerators. We have 3/12, 3/5, 3/8, and 3/4. So we're looking at 3 pieces, but all of the pieces are not the same size. I'm imagining sharing a pizza with my friends. So if I have 3/12 of a pizza, there's 12 little pieces. But you know what? I also see some fractions that I know. So I'm going to actually draw my fourths because I know from third grade that if I have 4 equal sections, I have fourths. So I know this fraction is 1/4. This would actually be 2/4. If you remember, 2 is half of 4. This would be 3/4. Oops, let me go ahead and get to here. I know that this fraction is 3/4. I'm going to put my 3/4 right here. And actually, I don't even need that. Let's take that out, and I can drag my 3/4 right over there. I know that that's 3/4, just because I know this is 1/4 right over here too. So I now have 3/12, 3/5, and 3/8. So 3/5, if I need to think about fifths, fifths are not super easy to draw, but I know that half of 5 would be less than 3. It's actually 2.5 or 2.5, which you may have learned. But I know that this is actually more than 1/2 because 2/5 would be less than 1/2. 3/5 is more than 1/2. So this is going to go somewhere over here. But if I'm thinking about my pieces, if I have 3 pieces of 5, that means there's 5 equal pieces or 4 equal pieces. If you're sharing with 5 people, those pieces are smaller than if you're sharing with 4 people. So I'm confident that 3/5 is more than 1/2, but less than 1/4. Now we've got 12ths and 8ths. I've got 3 little teeny pieces, and I have 3 in-between pieces. I feel confident that the 12ths are smaller than the 8ths. Now we want to know exactly where this would go. Well, let's think about our fourths. This would be 1/4. Let me type that in here. I know that that's 1/4. Make that red so we know that's not one of our fractions we're having to order. And let's go ahead and draw our lines on our circle into eighths again. That'll be very helpful, I believe, so that we can see where things should go. So I'm going to draw this one here. Let's see if I can do this, if it lets me do it. No, it won't. Do my vertical. Eighths are not hard at all to draw, thankfully. And if I wanted to think about a fourth, well, this right here, if I, it's going to be really hard to do on my mouse, but this is 1/4. But if you see that, that's also 2/8. So 1/4 is 2/8. So that means my 3/8 is greater. 3/12, remember that's those 3 itty bitty pieces. So I feel very confident that I have my fractions in order. 3/12, 3/8, 3/5, 3/4. Notice the denominators. Bigger, greatest, least with the denominators. But this one's different because you have all the denominators are different. All the numerators are different. My 1/2 is going to be really important in helping me decide where these fractions will go. Well, I'm not going to even look in order. I know that 1/10, if I have 10 pieces of pizza, that one piece is not going to be very big. It's less than a half for sure. I know that 5 is half of 10. I'm going to type that in here too, just to help me as I'm comparing, and I'd like to make those a different color. So it's because it's not a fraction we're ordering. If I have eighths, remember in that previous problem, 4/8 I knew was equal to 1/2. What about sixths? What's 1/2 of 6? Well, I know 3 is half of 6 because 3 times 2 is 6. So 1/2 is also equal to 3/6. And then I also know with twelfths, 6/12 is equal to 1/2. That's going to make it a lot easier. Thank you for your patience as I make sure this is color-coded correctly. It'll be a lot easier to decide where my fractions go. Well, 3/8 is 3/8 is less than 4/8, so 3/8 is less than a half. I'm not exactly sure where I want to put it yet, but I know it's going to be less than. I've got to decide between my 1/10 and my 3/8. 7/12 is greater than 6/12. It's only 1/6 greater than a half. And I know halves are small, 12ths are very small pieces. 5/6 is more than 3/6. So let me make sure I have the 7/12 and the 5/6 in the right order. Well, 7/12 is only one small piece greater than a half right here. So this can actually be real close. 5/6 is only 1/6 away, and 1/6 is a bigger slice than a 12. So I'm confident that those two are in the right order. 3/8. Well, I'm going to go ahead and divide my number line into eighths because I've done this before, and I'm sorry these are so crooked, but these are fourths. I know what I can do. Let me make this look a little prettier. Oops. Oh, great. Let's see if I can bring it back. There we go. Okay. What I was trying to do here was go into my vertical here. All right. So I'm going to cut my fourths into halves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have my 8 pieces. So I'm going to put 3/8 right here. Oops, right here. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. And I know I'm not going to even bother drawing tenths. I know that 1/10 is a tiny piece. So I'm confident now that my fractions in purple are in order. 1/10, 3/8, 7/12, and 5/6. All right, one more problem. And this one challenged me at first, but I hope the reasoning as we reason through this, it'll help you. So I've got my 1/2 here. Let's use my 1/2 to decide where these fractions go. Well, 5/12 is less than a half because I know a half is 6/12. 7/8 is more than a half because 4/8 is 1/2. 2/5, we had that one already. 2/5, oops, it's 2/5 I know is going to go over here. And 1/3 is also going to be less than a half. So we've got to decide where these fractions go. Well, I know 5/12 is just 1/12 away. It's going to be very close to 1/2. 7/8, I'm confident, go right here. So we've got to decide where our thirds, our 1/3 and our 2/5, which one is greater. This one, I'm gonna make sure this one is as close to that one as I can. All right, so 12, let's go to the very next one. I have this set up so that I can use my handy dandy ruler tool to line up and place right here. Guess why? Because I want to divide my number line into thirds. 3 times 5 is 15, so I can do jumps of 5 here, 5, 10. Those are my thirds. And then I'm going to also change the color because if I count by threes, I can do 3 times 5 is 15. 3, 6, 9, 12. Once again, I am counting by threes so that I have this divided into fifths. So if I take this one away, I can go back and let me go ahead and make sure I label what each one of these is. So the blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got fifths. So this is 1/5 here. This is 2/5. And you know what? I don't even need that one. The blue is in fifths. 1/3 would be the black. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, or 1/2. Well, what do you know? 1/3 is less than 1/2. So let's go back to our original problem. And there you have it. We have these fractions in order from least to greatest. 1/2 of a 10th, 1/2 of a 6th. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on ordering fractions. I'm sure it stretched your brain. I know it stretched mine. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and please, please stay safe.